any kind of feedback you want to give. But really, so this is the kind of part I want you to kind of think about in terms of how you actually do your Zoom when you're delivering your workshops, or if you're facilitating a meeting or whatever. So really, if to get you kind of started, the kind of first thing you need to think about is how you use your camera correctly. And the reason we say that is because you'll probably be surprised the amount of people actually come onto a Zoom and they don't actually put their camera on. And it's actually doing the very basics and actually thinking, right, check your cameras on. Also check as well, some people have a wee kind of slider at the very top as well. And like, you know, for the amount of times we've been doing Zooms, it seems to be the ongoing battle of, can I get my camera working? So it's about being familiar when you're doing that. Also be aware of how you frame your video, and also be aware about your background, what's happening in the background. People can tell a lot about your life. So it's about having a thought, if you've got that pile of washing hanging up, what kind of message is that sending to people? Be aware that people can see things. Also as well, try and frame the picture correctly. So when you're using Zoom, you'll see the wee kind of thumbnail that you get. Use that as your guide. And whatever you do, don't get into the habit of doing your hair, you know, because that's one of the things you'll see people when they join the meeting at first. They want to check if the hair's all right. And so it's just being aware of things like that when you get started, because it says a lot. It says a lot about what you're saying. Okay, so good versus bad framing. So I'm going to give you some examples of what's a kind of common one you tend to see when people are using Zoom. This one is, first of all, the one I call it the kind of over the fence look. And it's like people can't, for some reason, they just can't get the framing right, and they like to show off the lampshade as well in the process. And to me, it looks like the kind of nosy neighbour, you know, just kind of looking in to see what's going on. So it's not really a good look. The other one as well, this is the one you see a lot when people are actually trying to hold their phones or their tablets or whatever when they're delivering or another meeting. And it's, be aware of that, because that, you know, that's just like a thumb, you know, and it can take away half the image. So this one as well, be aware when you're actually doing your session. Don't do it in front of a window, because you get that effect. You get like burnout, because the camera doesn't handle it very well when there's a kind of ratio between like shadow and light. So try and refrain from doing that, and because it gives that look as well, as if you've either been a hostage or whatever, or your own like Crime Watch UK, and you're trying to disguise your identity. But if that's the effect you want to do, then feel free. But remember, this is what people will see. Also as well, this one is where people can't get the framing right, and it's like right up, and it can be quite aggressive, quite intimidating, you know, and it's like, whoa, that's quite too much, you know. That's the one you want to go for. So it's a simple head and shoulders, you know, and it's like, it's no put people off, because if you get your framing pretty kind of bad, it kind of sets a tone, and I find you can't really see the person, and you're not really taking an interest in the person and what they're saying. So that would happen again for other people listening to you. So other thing to think about as well is about using the audio correctly. So one of the things you need to have a think about is good practice that attendees keep their microphones on mute when they're not speaking, and you're already doing that, and it's really good practice, because you really want to stay unmuted at all times, especially if, well, first of all, you know what I mean, it can be a disruption. You know, sometimes you get a kind of audio disturbance, you know, you can sometimes get an echo happening in the background. And for the person delivering that can be quite irritating, it can be off-putting as well. So it's just about trying to get any of your learners or whatever is doing that, or if you're in a meeting or whatever, anybody that's there and they're not speaking, just get them in the habit of doing that, because it's kind of good practice, and it's also as well, it can cause a kind of audio disturbance. And what I would say is, well, though, if people want to speak, it's about people knowing that only unmute your microphone and contribute when the speaker invites you to do so. So the speaker or whatever, the facilitator or anybody. So just a kind of a word of encouragement there. Other thing as well to be aware of, when you're doing Zoom, people can hear everything. So always ensure that the room you're in doesn't have the TV or the radio in the background. It's one of the most irritating things when you're listening to somebody and you can actually hear the TV going in the background. I've been in like a situation when I've been in a Zoom meeting and I can hear kind of like the canned laughter for a TV show going off, and it's like you're trying to talk about something quite kind of serious, and it's as if like somebody is sitting watching a comedy in the background. Or likewise, if they play music or whatever, it's just been aware of that. One of the things that a lot of people do as well is a bad habit where they'll maybe sometimes take a phone call, in the middle of a meeting. If you're going to do that, well, firstly, I don't think it's good practice of doing it in the first place. But if you have to take a phone call, make sure it goes on mute on Zoom, because you can actually hear everything. And people do that. And sometimes they can be sitting there talking about their food order for Just Eat or something like that, and it's like everybody sitting there going, this is a business meeting, So it's about being aware of that. Also as well, when you're in a discussion, right, be aware of the delay in sound and possible echo that you get. You can get that, and sometimes through Zoom, and it's trying not to be frustrated with that. And it's also sometimes there's a bit of a lag as well when people are speaking to each other. And so it's about giving people the opportunity to give their answers and try not to kind of cut them off, because it can come across as quite rude as well if you're not allowing people to kind of finish a point. So some of the additional things to be aware of. So if you're going to be delivering a session, it's about thinking if you're going to have people that are sitting in the same room as another person that's on the same session, that can affect the quality. It can affect the quality in terms of visually, but mostly in the sound. It will really have an impact on it. And it can actually have a drain on your Wi-Fi. Now, what you'll find as well, a lot of people will maybe on the same session and they've no thought about, well, do you know what, I'll turn that mic off and that speaker off. And sometimes if you get the two of them on at the same time as well, it creates the whistle, and it's such an irritating experience for people. And I don't know how many conferences or whatever we've all been on it probably, where you maybe had about 40 people on it, and then it's like they need to identify where this whistles came from. You tend to find it's been two people sitting in the same office. So it's just been mindful of that, and it cuts it out at the beginning as well if people know how to do that. But also as well, it's about the strain on the Wi-Fi. So which I kind of mentioned there as well, and it's just, you might get people saying, my Wi-Fi is not good. Well, maybe that's because you get two people on it at the same time. So about thinking about that as well and how it affects the quality. Now, I kind of mentioned about the Zoom, about the 40 minutes. What I would encourage you to do is, we're not saying to use about purchasing a subscription for Zoom, but it's about utilising a subscription, a paid account, because the reason why I'd say this is because a lot of people don't know this, is when you do the free 40 minutes that Zoom allows you to do, there is a terms and condition within it where you actually click it. A lot of things you sign up for, websites, anything you do, you get terms and conditions, you're just like, whatever, okay, yep, check, just accept, sign in, okay. But within their terms and conditions, they've actually got something where it says that they're allowed to sell your details onto third-party bodies. So it's actually for your own security. Be aware of that. So you'll find you'll get a lot of junk mail, a lot of kind of bizarre stuff coming through your inbox, off your various deals and stuff like that. That's how you get it for things like this, because you think you're using something for free. So also as well, but think about it, the paid Zoom also gives you the function to record the meetings, which can really be a good asset for yourselves, because for any if everybody's doing minutes in meetings or whatever, it's also a really good thing to utilise that. And it's also for yourselves, if you're maybe delivering a session or whatever, and it's maybe somebody's not been able to attend for something, then you can maybe have the session. It could be played back to them or whatever. But what you have to be aware of, if you're going to record it, you got to get the permission of everybody, and you have to make sure that everybody's comfortable with it being recorded, because sometimes by recording it, it can put a strain on people. And just giving people the heads up as well beforehand that it is actually being recorded. So also as well, be mindful as well, if you're going to be delivering a session or doing any activities. Yeah, we're in a kind of era now where we're just face-to-face, looking at a laptop a lot, or you're looking at a tablet, computer screen. We're staring a lot, and especially when we're doing Zoom, you're kind of using your eyes a lot, and it's for a long duration. So it's about being aware, be very aware, but that you need to have regular breaks. Try and get times away from it as well, so you'll notice that after an hour, you might find, I need a break. It's about thinking like that and putting regular breaks within it as well. And one of the other things as well, also be kind to each other when you're using Zoom, because Zoom can get frustrating. If the technology is not great, if the connection is not great, and people can't hear you, or vice versa, you maybe mishear what they're saying. So it's about be kind to each other, because it can get frustrating, and it could actually set a wee tone in there. So it's about be mindful of that as well. So this is really the kind of opportunity now for any questions, and I'm going to stop.